Hi friends! This week we are learning about animals and where they live as part of our Where We Live unit. And I have a book called Animal Homes. And our author is Angela Wilkes. There's no illustrator because in this book everything is photographs. So they are pictures taken by a camera. So illustrators draw pictures, photographers take pictures using a camera or an iPhone or any other kind of device that takes a picture. So our author is Angela Wilkes, and our book is called Animal Homes, and we're going to learn about some animals and their homes. So let's see. What is a home? Animals need homes for all the same reasons that people do. Homes provide shelter and keep animals warm in the winter. They are a safe place to rest and to raise their babies. Animals build their homes out of materials that match their surroundings. It makes it hard for predators to spot them. Predators are something that would want to eat that kind of animal. Homes such as this bird's nest are only built to raise babies. A nest is warm, cozy, and away from danger. This is where a mother bird lays her eggs and raises her young. Animals build many types of homes. Some build nests, while others make dens or dig burrows. So some animals live in a pond, and that's where their home is. And a pond is like a small body of water. It's not anything as big as an ocean, but it is a body of water. So many different animals live in still fresh water of a pond. Here they can find good hiding places and many things to eat. So let's see some of the animals that live in a pond. So amphibians, such as frogs and toads, live in a damp, shady place because they need to keep their skin moist and slimy. Some build their homes in unusual spots. Ribbit, ribbit. Let's see where some of these frogs build their homes. Some live in a hole, so when it rains, the water holding frog skin soak up the water. The slime on its skin sets to make a cocoon that keeps the water in. The frog then burrows into the sand or mud to escape heat. Some animals have mobile homes. That means their home is part of them. Some animals live in a shell that they carry on their backs. The hard shell shields the animal's soft body from knocks and bumps and shelters it from the wind and rain. It also protects it from hungry predators that are looking for food. So let's see some of the animals that use their shells for their home. So we have turtles and snails and hermit crabs. So some of them, their shell grows on them. It grows with them. So a home that grows as a snail grows, its shell grows too. So the shell is always just the right size. But hermit crabs borrow their homes, and they have to keep changing their homes as they grow. So a hermit crab has no hard shell of its own. So it finds an empty shell and moves in. When it grows, the hermit crab moves to a bigger shell. And then we have tortoises or turtles, and their shell, just like the shell of a snail, grows with them. Whoa, we know what these are, right? Spiders. And where do spiders live? That's right, on a spider web. So most spiders spin webs in order to catch insects. They build them using silk threads from their own bodies. But some spiders live in other types of homes, such as holes or burrows. So some spiders live on spider webs, and others burrow their homes into the ground. Birds, we know, sometimes live in nests, but other birds make some fancy homes. So this is a male Cape weave bird, and it weaves a complicated nest using grass and reeds. And then the only way in and out would be through this hole in the top. And this is a hanging nest that some birds make. But most of the birds that I think we know live in nests, and they have their babies in the nests. Cell homes are kinds of homes that are made by wasps and bees. And they build amazing nests that are made up of tiny cells. Young wasps and bees can grow up safely in these little compartments, and they lay their eggs in there. And we know that the honeybees, right? They make their honey inside of their nest, inside of their honeycomb homes. So do you see? That would be what the inside looks like. And then we have ants. Ants live in a colony called an anthill. Most ants and termites live in huge groups called colonies. They work together to build enormous nests where they can raise their young. These are some mini homes made by little mice. Mice live in many different places. Some live in fields and some live in forests. Others even live in people's houses. But all mice nest to rest in and raise their babies. So sometimes they'll burrow a hole into some grass. Others make their nest by using grass and tiny twigs, almost like a bird's nest. Other animals live underground. So these are some animals that they dig a hole down into the ground, and then they make a burrow, which is a large space for them to sleep and raise their babies. So these are called Mormons. So they're a type of rodent that burrow into the ground. And then, we have dogs. So not all dogs live in houses. We have pets as dogs as pets rather, and they live in our home. But there's wild dogs and foxes and dingoes, and they build their home by digging dens in soft dirt or by taking over and enlarging homes of other animals. Some animals live in the snow. So we have some polar bears, and they live in the snow in the Arctic. And when they're tired, they dig a shallow pit in the snow and they sleep in it. So they dig like a hole in the snow, and they have a lot of fur, layers of fur that keep them warm. And the snow insulates them. That means that it almost acts like a home. Like Eskimos build their homes in the snow by using snow blocks, and they live inside the snow blocks called igloos. So this is kind of like a bear igloo, right? For a polar bear. So they dig into the snow and they sleep there. Oh, and bats. Bats live in caves. So they don't really necessarily make their home. They take over a place for their home. So they'll find a deep cave where they can hang upside down when they're asleep during the day, and that becomes their home. Riverside homes are home to a lot of different animals. So you have like dragonflies and ducks and other kinds of birds that live by the water, as well as beavers, platypuses, and they make their homes by the river, either by making a nest or digging a burrow or making a lodge. This is a beaver's den. So this is a beaver's lodge rather. And what they do is they get fallen trees, and they cut down trees too because they have these sharp, sharp teeth. And they bring the trees and twigs and branches to the river. And they build this big den. So you'll just see, if you were walking, and you would just see a big pile of sticks. But look what's inside, right? And the only way you can get in and out of a beaver's lodge is by swimming underwater to get in and out. But look, they're on dry land, right? So it may be land, or it may be a platform that they build using the wood that they get from trees. And chimpanzees and other monkeys usually live in jungles, and they'll live inside trees. Some will build a nest up into a tree, and that's where they'll sleep and they'll raise their babies. And others live with people, whether we like it or not, right? Like the mouse that lives in the house. And these are storks, and they build their nests on top of chimneys sometimes because they need a very high place to build their nests. And if there's not any trees that are large enough for them to build their nest, but there's a house, they'll make their nest there. There's also called ospreys, which are another large bird that lives here on Long Island. You can see them in Brooklyn as well. And what people have done over the years are they've taken these poles, big tall poles with a platform, so that the ospreys can build their nests up on the platforms rather than on top of people's roofs. So we learned about a lot of animals, and we're going to learn about a lot more during the week. And then I thought it would be fun if everybody made an animal home. Now you can make it or you can draw it. I made some animal homes. So I made a nest for a bird. So here's my bird's nest. I used the box, right? So this is just a cut down tissue box. And I went out and I collected some of the things that birds would collect to make their nest. So I collected some leaves and some twigs. Let's take the birds I made out. And some cotton. And I put it inside. And then I used some Model Magic, but you can use Play-Doh too. Model Magic dries nicely. But Play-Doh is fine also, to make some little birds to put in my nest so they can live in their nest and they have some feathers. So it's my bird's nest. I also love the water. And so I wanted to make the home of some fish and an octopus. So again, I just took a tissue box. I cut the front out. I painted it blue. I glued down some sand and some shells. And then I printed out from the computer a picture of some fish and an octopus. And I made a home for the fish and the octopus because they would live in the ocean. And then, because I love doing bear hunt so much, I made a place for a bear to live. And a lot of bears, not polar bears, but a lot of bears live in caves, just like the bats. So they don't necessarily make their home, but they kind of take a home over. They find an open spot, an open cave, and they live in the cave. So I used some Model Magic, which dries really nicely, to make the cave with some rocks. And look, I got some twigs from outside to make trees. And then I used Model Magic to make my my bear also. And I thought the bear needed a nice soft place to sleep. So I crunched up some leaves and I glued some leaves inside of his den. You can do whatever you want. You can draw, you can build, whatever your imagination decides. But think about what animal you want to make. And then think about where that animal lives. And if we don't learn about it during the week, then maybe you and mommy and daddy can go on the internet and find out where that animal lives and make a home for them or draw a home for them. And then you can go ahead and upload a picture of that home on Seesaw. And if you make or draw a home for an animal, we can always set up a show and tell during welcome meeting so that you can show everybody the animal home you made and tell us a little bit about the animal that lives there. Whatever you decide to do, make sure that you have fun doing it.